first time.
Yeah.
I was doing really good. One rising star, quit my job as a researcher in April 2023.
Yeah.
And I was chilling.
Okay.
You know what else happened in 2023?
What happened?
I spoke out about Palestine way too soon.
You didn't speak out about Palestine. You didn't speak out way too soon. You called it a revolution whenever a bunch of crazy, insane terrorist psychopaths went into Israel and killed a bunch of people completely randomly. Like, these were people that were, again, they were at a festival. Let's not downplay this, right? Well, I'll show you what she said. Frogan, oh yeah, I already looked this up before, right? I remember I showed this before. And so this is what she said. Leftists preach and foam at the mouth at the thought of a revolution happening in America, but as soon as it happens in the Middle East, they're doing it wrong. What they're doing is wrong. That's correct. And so she tried to act like a bunch of random psychopath terrorist Hamas members coming over into Israel and just basically indiscriminately killing women and random people that were civilians is a revolution. So this is the reason why, because, I spoke out against Palestine too soon. This is the reason why people don't like you. It's because you're a liar. You're a liar that misrepresents what happens. And I think that's the main problem that you have, is that you lie to people and you say things that aren't true. Just be honest. Just be honest. You want to talk about being as far as I know, in the Quran, it doesn't tell you to lie, does it? I'm pretty sure it tells you not to lie. So this is in every religion, it tells you don't bear false witness. Don't make shit up. Why are you making shit up? Why are you saying things that aren't even true? It's just stupid. You can lie to non-believers. Well, she's lying to everybody. She's lying to herself.
Okay. I said a lot of things people didn't like way too early.
Way too early. So this is her adding in a qualifying statement to imply that what she said was correct and the people that said that she was wrong were not looking at it from the right perspective. This is why nobody likes you.
And whenever I talked about my support for Palestine,
It's not about your support for Palestine. It's about your support for terrorism. So whenever you support terrorism and indiscriminately killing innocent people that had nothing to do with what Israel was doing, and this is coming from somebody I'm a free Palestine guy too. I support Palestine. I think what's happening to them is horrible. But the worst thing about Palestinians is that not only are they being oppressed by, Israel, but they're also being oppressed by their own people. They're being oppressed by Hamas. Hamas are the ones that are oppressing them. I guarantee you that they're making things worse over there. They are, because keep in mind that it is in Hamas's best interest to continue the oppression of the Palestinian people, because if they do that, then they get more members. Then they continue their endless war against Israel. That's the reason why. And I think that's what happens. Whenever people went out and protested against Hamas, Hamas killed them. It's insane because and I don't think you need to be a political person to look at the horrible thing. If you look at Gaza, right, and you see all the buildings that are destroyed, I think it's really easy for you to say that. Did you know that, for example, the majority of people that are living in, I think, Gaza are under the age of 18? That's insane. That's crazy. So the idea that they somehow deserve this, the majority of them couldn't even vote. So I think that a lot of people support Palestine, but the problem is that people like Frogan try to launder their disgusting personality through the genuine struggle of the Palestinians. And I think that's the worst thing about it. And they also try to launder their disgusting personality through Islam. There's a lot of guys that are here's the crazy thing is that whenever I had that drama happen and I got banned for saying what I said about Palestine, a lot of the guys that were hey man, do you want to talk and figure this out? And, why don't you come and see us and we can see what's going on. They were all Muslims and Arab guys that I've known for years. So this weird thing where it's oh wow, Islam is this bad thing. I don't see it that way at all. A lot of the guys that I know that are great. So whenever you take your religion and you use your religious expression and you use your social causes as a shield for basically for people to not attack your personality at, what you do is you have people attack those causes. So what are you fundamentally doing? You're fundamentally turning people against your religion, and you're turning people against your causes by trying to launder your disgusting personality through those things. That's what I think. Not all Muslims make jihad? Well, it's my opinion, right? I mean, I'm not saying, doesn't mean I want to live in a Muslim country, but I think there's a live and let live. And listen, I grew up in a place where you got to get along with everybody, okay? Like, that's what I do.
Viewership decreased significantly. On top of that, multiple hate campaigns were launched after me. I was
You deserved it.
being harassed left and right.
You deserved it.
From multiple people.
Yeah.
I was getting death threats. I had to have security at TwitchCon because I was getting incredible death threats. All because I, talked about people's support of Israel.
Should have put those people in jail.
And called them out for it.
Wait, what?
Because I, talked about people's support of Israel.
People's support of Israel? Who's supporting Israel? Who's supporting Israel in a way that's problematic? I wonder who. Like what, Ethan? Me? Like what? What are you talking about?
And called them out for it, and you're not supposed to do that.
You're not supposed to do that? For supporting Israel? You also said that you hope that veterans get PTSD.
Okay. I learned the hard way, unfortunately.
Apparently not. You're still saying this.
Yeah, I mean, I lost a lot of my viewership then too.
Deserved.
I said the quiet part out loud way too early.
Yeah, the quiet part, which is, wait a minute. Oh, wait a second. So the quiet part is that you support terrorists killing innocent people in Israel because Israel killed innocent people in Palestine? Like, well, how does that make any sense? Like, wouldn't both of these things be horrible and bad? Like, I don't see, like, I mean, there's no moral consistency with this at all.
I don't regret it. If I lose my career for supporting Palestine, I don't give a fuck.
It wasn't for, this is what she does. And I honestly, I really hate the fact that people like her do this, because I think that it does really hurt that cause whenever everybody's impression of the Free Palestine movement is narcissistic, entitled, toxic people like her. I think it really, I think that they've poisoned the well so bad that a lot of, I think, reasonable, good-intentioned, well-meaning people that would be supporters of the Palestinian people's struggle, which has been going on. Keep this in mind. It's been going on for decades now. This has been going on for so long. It's just that October 7th brought it to like the mainstream consciousness. But before that, it was still really bad. I didn't really cover it a lot or talk about it or know a lot about it then either, to be honest. But my point is that activists poison every well. Yeah. Well, I mean, what I'm saying is that this is not an activist. This is a parasite. She has parasitically attached herself to this cause and is damaging the cause by trying to launder her reputation through it. That's what she's doing right now.
If you don't watch me you don't watch me anymore because you don't support Palestine, fuck you.
It's got nothing to do with that. Has nothing to do with that.
Okay? I don't give a fuck.
Has nothing to do with that.
People want to talk about my numbers. I don't care. It's not never going to be a situation where they're like, oh, she's just gonna work retail, or she's gonna work at a fast food restaurant. I have a master's degree from one of the best universities in the world for my field.
Then you should get a job in something like that, because the truth is that what you're doing right now is a big mistake, and this is honest, genuine advice. You're not making enough money in order to make ends meet. It's obviously you're not. And so if you have a good degree and you can get a job, you said you were a researcher before, the best thing that you can do for your life is to go and do that. And I think that also having a degree of credibility as a professional would also help your streaming career as well. So that would be my advice for her. I think that's what she should do. That is, like, you should actually do that. I mean, you'll make more money. You'll be taken more seriously. You'll have a more long-term career. I mean, like, who knows how long streaming is going to work at all, right? I mean, like, you could get banned randomly, you know, like the culture could shift and people could keep harassing you and you could feel unsafe in the future. That's not going to happen at a researcher's job. And I think it'd probably be better for you to get out. I mean, let's be honest, right? I mean, there are benefits to being at a normal job, right? I mean, I've worked a normal job before, and I think that, like, it is nice to see your coworkers and to hang out with them and to talk to them. And there's like a camaraderie there that whenever you spend all day inside by yourself, I think you don't really get a chance to have. So that's my honest advice to her, is I think that you should probably do that then.
That's never going to be my reality. Okay?
Yeah.
Another thing. And then, like, on top of the initial hate campaigns that happened,
deserved.
Whenever I started talking about Palestine,
completely deserved. You started supporting terrorism.
People started dogpiling.
Yeah.
And no big streamers except Hassan said shit about it.
Because you were wrong. That's the reason why. Like, the reason why nobody supported you is because you were wrong. Has it ever occurred to you that everybody having the same consensus about you might mean something?
You know what I mean? People always want to, like, give you support behind the scenes, but nobody actively stood against the hate campaigns I was getting, like, from, like, Tectone, for example.
Yeah. Tectone called you fat. Wow, it's terrible.
They don't give a fuck. They don't care. This is why I say the streamer industry is a very fucking lonely industry.
Yeah, sure, that's true.
Yeah, the U.S. soldier shit.
Shouldn't have said that.
That too.
Shouldn't have said it. It's a mistake.
Then the ban happened.
Yep.
And then
you shouldn't have done a tier list and put Jews at the bottom. You shouldn't have done it. Like, and don't go and give me this. Oh well, no, it wasn't Jews. It was just things that Jews eat. I'm sorry, but if I put mayonnaise at the top and watermelon at the bottom, and I ranked a bunch of black people at the bottom, I'd get fucking banned. Everybody knows what you were doing.
That fucked me up, which is why I lost my health.
So dishonest. Everybody knows what you were doing.
Health insurance, since people want to fucking comment on that as well too.
It's outrageous.
You know, like, whenever you lose your income for an entire month.
Yeah.
And you're paying out of pocket for health insurance because you were 27, I think, at the time.
Yeah.
When you're 27 years old, you have to pay for your own. You're not on your parents anymore. And you lose, like, a big chunk of your income. Or you lose your entire income for being wrongfully banned. Yeah, I had to pick and choose.
Wrongfully banned? See, this is the problem that these people have, is that they have this narcissistic obsession to be right about everything. You can never admit fault, and you can never say that what you did was wrong, and you can never look at other people's point of view because you're so attached to your ideology and to being right. You're so used to fighting people all the time that you're not looking at anything objectively anymore.
I lost my fucking health insurance. So, yes. Yeah. Lost my health insurance, and which everyone wants to comment because I made, like, a donut goal for my stupid fucking arm.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, so not only did this bullshit affect me financially, it's affected my career, it's affected my viewership, it's affected me mentally, it's affected me physically.
How?
But all that goes to say I'm fine. You know what I mean?
It seems like not.
All that to say, I'm fine. Circling back to the initial point, it's the fact that, like, a lot of the people that don't like me, I don't think about them.
I see that.
Like, I was thinking about this today. I have a life offline.
Good for you.
I don't go online anymore. Like, I've created such good boundaries within myself with the internet.
You had to do that because of how toxic you were. You should keep that in mind.
Like, I don't care about the internet. I don't care about what's happening on the internet.
I can see that. I don't
care. A lot of these streamers you watch, they cannot separate their online and offline personality and personas. It's
true, actually. Like, I met Frogan. She was a nice girl. Like, I don't know why she doesn't just act like that on stream. She'd be fine.
My life off the internet. A lot of these people think I think about them when I go offline.
I don't know why you can't just act like that.
I'm online. That's the reality of the fact.
Yeah. Anyway, so fix her. I mean, look. Here's the thing, right? You didn't get off the internet exactly. You can tell she's lying because your lips are moving. Oh God. Yeah, that's the way I feel about it in general. The VTuber person did blackface. Wait, what is this here? I don't know what this is. This is some other bullshit. And, wait a minute. I know exactly who this is. Oh boy. Yeah, I know exactly. This is another girl. This is a great example of all the people that hate you are fighting. This girl also hates me. The girl she's talking about hates me. Frogan probably doesn't like me that much. And so, you know, it's like, okay, this is perfect, right? And because she was nice. I think that honestly, she's the kind of person that this is what I think happens with her, is that I think that she's kind of a sensitive person, and she gets into her room, she gets into her fucking, you know, her mindset, and then she just kind of turns into a demon, really. And it sounds like kind of a weird way to say it, but I think that's kind of what happens, is that, you know, you're isolated from people, you're getting jazzed up, you're getting people agreeing with you, and then you keep dialing things up, you go into demon mode, and then you say some stupid shit, and then people don't like you, but then you have this like weird ego thing, so you're unwilling to walk it back, and so you write yourself into a corner. Now people don't like you, nobody wants to be around you, and it's like it causes a bunch of problems. And like honestly, it's like it's the age-old story of hubris being the downfall of man. And I think this is another example of it. You should have never acted this way. And I think that a lot of your popularity was because of your identity. And whenever that became kind of no longer popular to do, those people stopped using you because you were never anything other than a social accessory to them. And I mean that in a way that's not derogatory towards her. I think that it was unfair that she was treated that way. And the people that were doing that are opportunistic and bad actors. But they used her as a social accessory, and then they discarded her and didn't support her when, you know, again, she was not doing very well. And that was even before October 7th, right? So yeah, that's the way I feel about it. This is Nigel Farage talking about how bad Rupert Lowe is. Here we go.
You know, people think, oh, Farage has done it. We'll just set a party up. It'll be marvellous. We'll sweep the next election. It just isn't as easy as that. Now, does he have a profile on X? Yes, he does. Is Elon going to support him? Probably. But you see, you know, when he stood up and said that we've got to consider the mass deportation of entire communities, including those born in the United Kingdom, that just moves way beyond a point of reasonableness, of decency, of morality. And that was the moment at which, you know, I realized we just had to get rid of him, and get rid of him as quickly as we could.
That's right. They don't want anybody else. They only want controlled opposition. That's I'm actually really glad to see him say this, because this really goes to reaffirm something that I've said for a long time, is that a lot of these people, like, especially like a lot of these like establishment kind of like, you know, pretend conservatives, what they're doing is they are just simply participating in the same managed decline that you're trying to vote against. They're like, it's like, okay, well, you can vote for this other party, so whenever it happens, you know, they'll complain about it, and you can feel good about them complaining about it. But they're never actually going to solve the problem themselves. Raj is a disgrace, yeah.
And I think in terms of the way we dealt with that, we were probably more brutal than the other parties. But you know what? That's the way it's going to be. Thank you.
Yeah, well, they can say the same thing, but now you're complaining about it. And then also, like, and this is the other issue, too, is listen to this again.
That just moves way beyond a point of reasonableness, of decency, of morality.
And there's no real explanation for why that's the case. There's no explanation for why that's bad or what the reason for it is at all. It's just somebody that's going out there saying this to shut down conversation. They want popularity without doing the work. Well, the main thing that they want, and this is what I think it is that they want to be liked by the people that are, you know, in my opinion, just trying to openly make everything worse. That's what the main issue. Oh, here it is.
Nigel Farage has just admitted that the reason he threw Rupert Lowe out of Reform and reported him to the police was because he supports mass deportations. It was nothing to do with bullying or death threats to Zia Youssef.
That's right.
Farage alleges that we wanted to...
And by the way, mass deportations are, like, that's what has to happen. I think we need to do this in the United States. Like, all of the Western countries, I think, need to do mass deportations. because there has been a contagion that's happened where a lot of people have been basically brainwashed into thinking that the only way that they can effectively like make the country better or, you know, wash away whatever original sin that they think that they have because of some sins of, you know, some person that's dead, like Hitler did this bad thing. And so now we have to let all of the foreigners into the country. Every single country should be doing this, whether it's Britain, whether it's Germany, whether it's America, whether it's Canada, or whether it's Australia. There is a very clear problem here, and it is reinforced in every instance of it existing.
For entire communities. And he's absolutely right. A Restore Britain government would deport every last foreign rape gang collaborator.
That's right.
Wives, brothers, sisters, cousins.
Children.
Who knew about the rapes but chose to do
Absolutely.
nothing. Following our inquiry, it could not be more...
Yeah, that's the right option, by the way. Like, why would you not want to get...
Restore Britain government would deport every last foreign rape gang collaborator.
That's right.
Wives, brothers, sisters, cousins.
Children.
Who knew about the rapes but chose to do
Absolutely.
nothing. Following our inquiry, it could not be more...
Yeah, that's the right option, by the way. Like, why would you not want to get rid of the people that let the rape gangs happen? Like, yeah, you just get rid of all of them. It's simple. Like, what do you mean? Like, duh, of course.
More clear that this is the right thing to do. These crimes are an open secret in these communities. And if Farage is not prepared to grapple with this reality, that's on him. But trying to ruin Rupert Lowe's life because he is absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
And if you're a member of Reform, ask yourself whether you want this man, who is now flanked by the likes of Robert Jenrick and Nadeem Zahawi, running your country. And if you don't, join us at Restore Britain.
I think that Nigel Farage did a great job 10 years ago helping push Brexit, and I think that he was a great... Like, this is another thing, is that people like Nigel Farage have their place in things, and I think very early on, he did play a good role in, you know, kind of changing the political spectrum, but now that political spectrum has evolved beyond his own views, and I think that he should step aside and let these new people take the reins instead, because obviously I think, you know, he was the man of the hour at that time, but, you know, before that... Oh, this is what happened. Wait, what's this here? Oh, I never seen this. Here's the footage of the armed police raiding my home late on a Friday night thanks to Zia Yousaf's lies. Now Farage's choice to be Home Secretary, all supported by Reform leadership, supported by Farage. On the 14th of March at 21:30, armed police arrived in my home unannounced, 3 vehicles with 4 armed officers. I'm a farmer. I own guns entirely legally and properly. The previous day, I had arranged with the police to voluntarily give up my guns because of Yousaf's lies. I was not impressed to have had armed police suddenly show up at my doorstep late at night. The officers stayed until almost midnight, and they confiscated my guns and left. It took so much time that I have a large collection, so a wheelbarrow was required. Of course, everything was dropped and I got my guns back. Yousaf's lies put my family through an ordeal, supported every way by Reform's leadership. Today, we find out that it all happened because Farage didn't like my comment on mass deporting foreign rapists. The day he announces Yousaf as his potential Home Secretary to lead the police. If he did it to me, he'll do it to you. Oh my God. Why is the UK so obsessed with rapists? Because the rapists have a different skin color and religion, so the people in the UK are afraid of telling them no. That's the reason why. And this is all the people showing up. Yeah, it's actually that simple. Oh boy. And they're sending all these people up. I mean, this is obviously just to fucking intimidate the guy. And this is what's crazy, is that they have all this energy to intimidate somebody that wants to push for mass deportations, but they don't have any of this energy to go after the people. They're the reason why people want the mass deportations. Isn't that interesting? That's a deeply dangerous oversimplification. It's actually not an oversimplification. I actually think it is that simple. And the reason why I think that, here's the main reason why I think that. It's because most people don't think in complexities. So if you can't explain something in like 1 or 2 sentences, the odds are that's not what's going on in people's minds. Just on a very basic level. most people don't think in complex, multifaceted layers of, you know, like complex motivations. They think very clearly cause and effect. This happened, I respond. That happened, I respond. So if you're trying to exist beyond that spectrum, you are probably not understanding what a normal person is thinking. Like, that's just the way it is. And this is more of these people showing up. Oh my God. Well, there it is. I'll see if there's any more of these that are worth looking at. But, yeah, holy shit, we had to get rid of them. Yep, that's exactly it. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Give me 1 second. And where the fuck did it go? Okay, and this is literally oppressing your people. What's wrong with Western politics? Well, the reason why they do it, it's actually very, very simple. It's extremely simple. And an ex-Englishmen know who their leader is. What's this?
Do you support deporting all of those people?
It's impossible to do. Literally impossible to do.
But is it your... Do you support deporting all of those people?
It's impossible to do.
Well, no, it's why? Why is it impossible to do?
Literally impossible.
What?
To do.
But is it your ambition?
No.
If that means millions go, then millions go. This is Britain, and we will do things our way.
Yeah, you just get the military and get rid of them, round them all up, figure out where they live, and go get them. Like, what are we talking about? This is crazy. I don't even know how this is hard at all. Oh my God. I don't get how people can't see something like this and realize that it's so obviously fucking bad, right? And that's the English choice. How is it impossible? It's easy. You just get it. Yeah, you just go get them. Like, this is insane. I'll see if there's any more of these that are worth looking at, but I feel like that's pretty much the main one. Oh.
Moving on to Rhiannon from the Press Association.
Hi, Rhiannon from the Press Association. Your former colleague and friend Rupert Lowe has just launched Restore Britain. Are you feeling threatened at all by Restore Britain? And particularly now he's had the backing of Elon Musk, and it could split your vote.
I don't know about former friend. He sued me in 2019.
I can see why.
As he sues everybody.
Uh-huh.
And if you look at the history of Southampton Football Club, and then look at the history of W.H. Ireland, which he chaired in the city of London, you will see he was removed from both of those roles after lawsuits galore and 2 very dramatic EGMs.
Oh,
so
wow.
Friend would be stretching it just a little bit. There are, last time we counted, 11 parties that claim to be on the right or centre-right of British politics, from the Heritage Party to goodness knows who else. There is only one proper brand of centre-right politics in this country. It's called Reform. And as I'd mentioned earlier, you know, people think, oh, Farage has done it. We'll just set a party up. It'll be marvellous. We'll sweep the next election. It just isn't as easy as that. Now, does he have a profile on X? Yes, he does. Is Elon going to support him?
That we saw.
Rid of him and get rid of the and that was the moment at which, you know, I realised we just had to get rid of him and get rid of him as quickly as we could. And I think in terms of the way we dealt with that, we were probably more brutal than the other parties. But you know what? That's the way it's going to be. Thank you.
Man, that's really crazy, huh?
If Farage lied, he actually lied there. He lied once, and then he admitted that he had lied in the past in the statements he just made. He said that Rupert Lowe was advocating for the deportation of entire communities. Rupert Lowe has only ever...
This audio's fucked up. I don't want to listen to it. Farage's 180 is points he originally went with. I think what happened really is that, you know, he just became basically less extreme, and like what he advocated for is already pretty over. Like you know, like Britain is already separated from the EU, and like his job that he was trying to do is finished. And so just retire and let somebody else go do that instead. I don't know if there's anything else more to this to look at, but yeah, very obviously, he said it was when I started talking about mass deportations, the moment he realized he had to get rid of me. What did I say that Farage actually felt he had to get rid of me over? Following position. Yeah, there it is. I mean, I say that if foreign communities with nationals knew their husbands, cousins, and brothers were industrially raping vulnerable white girls and did nothing, then yes, they should all be deported. Duh. Like, it's just so obvious by this. It is. Look at this here. Dual nationals involved in the rape, then yes, they go too. We must revoke their citizenship and remove them from the country. As with we've seen in our inquiry, this was happening all over towns. Thousands of foreigners knew about the rapes and thousands were involved. We need to do the same thing here with the Somalian scammers. And we need to do it with the other scammers from the other countries too, because it's happening over here. All of these people are inside of these insular communities and they're working together and they're doing this collectively. Do you really think that these happen all in like some weird fucking bubble? Absolutely not. They're working together. They're communicating with each other. Like, for example, why is it that the Quality Learning Center had all of these people bringing their kids in just 2 or 3 days after Nick Shirley did that video? Well, it's because they want to show people that they're not doing anything wrong. That's the reason why. Absolutely. Yes, I would deport them all. I would actually give the death penalty to many too to be... Oh! Oh, man. Oh, I love to hear it. There it is. Holy fucking shit. Wow. I'd just fucking kill him. This is vile, vile evil. Please listen to me when I say this. Do not underestimate the extent of that evil. And it goes on and on. Absolutely. So if a Pakistani woman knew their foreign husband was gang raping a 12-year-old in the basement and she didn't tell the police, then yes, she is complicit and she should be sent back to Pakistan. The husband might not be so lucky. Man, that is insane. I love this. Is this your exemplary candidate? Yeah, I mean, we need to get somebody like this in the United States. We do. Like, this is the type of language. It's like, okay, we've got a problem. Kill him. Problem solved. Done. It's actually that easy. And I guarantee you that you can solve the problem. Look at El Salvador. You just shoot him. Problem solved. And so Trump's not as good as this guy? I don't think so either. I mean, Trump, again, I think Trump is the same thing as Nigel Farage is that he is a very good harbinger of a person like this, but he's not actually that person. Trump is a great transition, and he's good to kind of break the ice, the same as Nigel Farage was. But in order to enact real meaningful change, you're going to need somebody that's even more extreme than that. That's the way I look at it. And apparently Discord has ties to Palantir. Of course they do. And I know a personal story from those 12-year-olds, dozens of them. I'm beyond furious what these women have been through, and anyone who knew about it must feel the full force of the law. I make no apologies for that whatsoever. Farage wants these savage animals to roam free around the British streets. That's fine. That's his choice. If he disagreed, he should have said so behind closed doors rather than the reform leadership reporting me to the police, getting the armed police to raid my home, and trying unsuccessfully to put me in prison. My position remains consistent and clear. I want to round up these foreign rapists and their accomplices, and I want to remove them all from the country. Restore Britain will do exactly that, I promise you. If you agree, vote for us. Man. Reform had 8 defectors to restore Britain today. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to continue happening. Like, people are obviously going to go back and they're going to roach out on them because nobody wants to deal with it, right? I mean, it's pretty obvious, doesn't it?
A group of physicists has just found out how to solve the problem of singularities in Einstein's theory. And not only this, they say it also solves the black hole information loss problem. They did it by including Einstein-Rosen bridges, the simplest type of wormholes, into quantum physics. Let's have a look. The equations of Einstein's general relativity predict singularities, for example, at the Big Bang or inside of black holes. These are places where space-time simply ends and the curvature becomes infinitely large. This isn't just mathematically uncomfortable, it also causes problems when you try to combine gravity with quantum physics. In quantum theory, if you know the state of a system now, the Schrödinger equation tells you exactly what happened earlier and what will happen later. But this doesn't work in singularities. In a singularity, space and time end, and everything ends with it. This is why black holes can destroy information, and it's why black holes are incompatible with quantum physics. This is the famous black hole information loss paradox. The black hole information loss paradox has attracted so much attention because it's really three different problems. The first is the issue of singularities in Einstein's theories. We believe these are mathematical artifacts that shouldn't affect physical reality, but how so? The second problem is how to combine gravity with quantum theory. Black holes are a case where we know exactly what's going wrong and how, and this offers a possibility to figure out how to solve the problem. The third problem embedded in black hole information loss is the nature of time. Because really, if you think about it, the origin of the problem is that time can end, which really it shouldn't. So there is something about time that we don't understand. Physicists have tried all kinds of things to solve this problem that range from crazy to the even more crazy. The authors of the new paper say basically, let's go back to the basics. They ask how time works in quantum physics and why general relativity doesn't agree with it. The problem, they say, is that when we look at singularities in general relativity, we can't just look at only one direction of time, the one that ends in the singularity. We have to combine this with a time-reversed situation. We do this in quantum physics all the time. An antiparticle, for example, can be interpreted as a particle going back in time. So the authors say, look, to solve the problem with this irreversibility at singularity, we need to do the same thing in general relativity as we do in quantum physics. We have to restore this symmetry between going forward in time and backward in time. Their key idea is to do this with Einstein-Rosen bridges. An Einstein-Rosen bridge is a solution to Einstein's theory of general relativity that Albert Einstein and Nathan Rosen found in 1935. They interpreted it as a connection between two universes. It's the simplest type of a wormhole. It still has singularities, but it works forward in time the same way as it works backward in time. What I mean is, it has one branch in which particles go into the singularity and one in which they come out of the singularity. The authors then say, look, this is exactly what we need to solve the black hole information loss problem. Rather than just looking at the quantum state that goes into the singularity, we always need to look at a pair of quantum states, one that goes in and one that comes out of the singularity. That doesn't make the singularity go away, but it's no longer an end for the quantum state. So information no longer gets destroyed. Where does it go? It goes backwards in time into a parallel universe. This makes it sound like a clever reinterpretation without observable consequences, and indeed, for black holes, it's unobservable, but not so for the Big Bang. This is because the early universe went through this rapid phase of exponential expansion called inflation, and this creates an asymmetry between the forward in time and backward in time quantum states. The one expands, the other one contracts, basically. This, they say, has an observable consequence, which is that in the CMB pattern we should see an asymmetry too, more specifically in the amplitude of multiple moments in the power spectrum, and that fits with observations. What are we to make of this? I give this a 6 out of 10 on the bullshit meter. I think it's quite plausible that our understanding of time or causality is one of the reasons why we have trouble combining quantum physics and gravity, and this is a worthwhile approach. But I think the CMB stuff is nonsense. In any case, it's a genuinely new and interesting idea that might turn out to be fruitful in the future. But whenever a physicist says that fits observations, it's worth asking how many things didn't fit. Did you know that your phone doesn't need a SIM card? I only learned about this recently. You can instead use an electronic SIM card, an eSIM. And the best way I know how to do this is with today's sponsor, Saley. There are many reasons to get an electronic SIM card. If you're traveling, you can avoid roaming fees just by switching to a local eSIM. That can save you a lot of money. You can also use it to set a virtual location. I got an eSIM to keep using an old phone which no longer has a SIM card. It's super inexpensive and convenient. How does it work? Download the app, select a country and a plan, and do not forget to enter my code Sabine before checkout because that'll get you 15% off. Download the eSIM and switch it on, and that's it. Saley has 24/7 support, and if the eSIM doesn't work on your phone, a money-back guarantee. So if you have a trip coming up or an old phone lying around, go and have a look at Saley.com. It's a really useful service. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow. The story of quantum computing is becoming increasingly clear, I think. As research progresses, use cases evaporate. It's a magic show. First the rabbit disappears, then the hat disappears, and eventually the audience disappears. Also, it turns out that quantum computers have a problem that no one thought of before. Let's have a look. Quantum computers are great, they say, because these machines can solve problems too tough for regular computers. They say is my favorite source. Quantum computers get their advantage from the power of entanglement, a type of correlation that only exists in quantum physics. It's a correlation so strong that if you mention it at a party, two philosophers immediately appear and start arguing about free will. Quantum computers could vastly speed up certain calculations, and that isn't just academically interesting. It could be useful for material science or chemistry, for logistics, code cracking, or finance. At least that's what they say. But things aren't going as planned. Take, for example, the idea that quantum computers might one day simulate complex molecules. One big example has been the Themo cofactor. Sounds like a startup that sells protein powder to venture capitalists, but no, it's a molecule that plays a major role in bacteria which enrich soil with nitrogen. This process feeds plants and ultimately us. Understanding this molecule could lead to better fertilizers and make a major impact on feeding the world. And while we have the equations that describe the properties of the molecule, we can't solve them on a conventional computer. They are just too difficult. A quantum computer must do it, so they say. But, well, in a new preprint that just appeared on the archive, a team from Caltech managed to calculate the ground state energy of the molecule to stunning precision with a conventional computer cluster. This in itself isn't going to change the world, but it illustrates that finding a practical advantage for quantum computers is tough. The future just got outperformed by a large room full of fans and cables and one person who refused to go home. This comes just a few weeks after another group of physicists argued that one of the most often used examples for the use of quantum computers, solving the traveling salesman problem, is a futile attempt. The traveling salesman problem is the task of finding the shortest route among a number of given locations. Closely related problems need to be solved in many everyday routines, from logistics to finance to 3D printing. For this reason, the traveling salesman problem has become the traveling sales pitch of quantum computers. In the new paper, the authors review 2 decades of failed attempts to force the problem into a form where a quantum computer would have an advantage, and suggest it's better to stick with classical or hybrid classical quantum systems. Concretely, they write, in terms of the question of whether there is evidence that purely quantum approaches, as opposed to hybrid quantum classical approaches, can solve even small-sized traveling salesman problems, this article has reviewed 2 decades of literature to conclude there is little cause for optimism. There is little cause for optimism is such a beautiful academic phrase. It's not pessimism, it's optimism, but error-corrected. Even a recent optimistic review by 2 pioneers of the field acknowledges the fraud road to quantum advantage. That is, the difficulty to find any meaningful task at which quantum computers might come in useful. Now, let me be clear, on the research side, everything is going well. Error correction has been tested successfully, albeit on small circuits, and the precision and quality of qubits has steadily increased. A recent headline even claimed that quantum computers have reached their transistor moment. But really? What made microchips so stunningly successful was that transistors became dramatically smaller and cheaper to produce. But the cost-driving factors with quantum computers are at the moment the dramatic requirements for cryogenic cooling and noise buffering. These costs are not going to go down if they need to cool more qubits. That's the entire problem. And quantum computers have another problem that no one has thought about much. They'd eat up a lot of energy. According to a recent estimate from Olivier Ezrati, error-correct quantum computers, once large enough to do actually useful calculations, would require as much power as entire supercomputer clusters, some designs even more. That means it's not only expensive to build them, running them won't be cheap either. Now you might say, okay, but wasn't the entire point that they'd be much faster? Yes, well, they'd be faster for certain tasks on the same task. That doesn't mean that in total the calculation would be short. On a quantum computer, calculations become long because you have to repeat them many times to reach a desired accuracy. And even if that's only peak power, you still need to provide that peak power, which drives cost. The press releases are getting cheaper, though. Those scale beautifully. A few years ago, I received some ugly letters from a debt collection company. A physicist at the University of Oxford has just proved that communication between parallel universes is possible if the many worlds theory of quantum physics is correct. In the paper, the author demonstrates, quote, that interbranch communication is in fact possible entirely within standard quantum theory. Well, that is interesting. Let's have a look. The many worlds theory of quantum physics says that quantum physics is actually not random at all. It only seems random to us. When we observe the outcome of a quantum measurement, we can't with certainty predict what will happen. We can only predict the probability for a particular outcome. Say that a particle appears on the left side of the screen with 30% probability. In the many worlds theory, now one says, well, actually all possible outcomes happen, it's just that each happens in different parallel universe, and we only ever observe one of them. Now you may ask, and indeed I think you should ask, if nothing is really random in the many worlds interpretation, then how come observers randomly split into universes so that the outcomes appear random? Yes, that's where I think the many worlds interpretation is nonsense, but let me leave aside my misgivings for a moment. It's the second most popular interpretation among physicists in general, and probably the most popular one in Oxford in particular, which brings us back to the paper. Normally, many worlders say that what happens in a measurement leads to a branching or splitting of universes in a process that is, for all practical purposes, impossible to reverse. It's basically entropy increase. In quantum physics, it happens by decoherence. This is why, after the measurement, the different branches, each with a different measurement outcome, are disconnected. There is one branch in which the particle went to the left side of the screen and you saw it left, and one in which it went to the right side of the screen and you saw it right, and one in which you stayed in bed that day. You get the idea. These different versions of you are in a superposition. They exist at the same time. In the new paper now, the author shows that there's a clever trick you can do in the many world scenario, which no one had thought of before. She says, look, we do this measurement which splits the universe into several branches. For simplicity, let's say there are just two. Now imagine that in each branch there is a copy of an observer. Each observes a different measurement outcome, so the observers are also different. But we know exactly how they are different because the Schrödinger equation tells us. Now in one branch, the observer writes down a message. Not a quantum thing, but an old-fashioned classical message, as physicists say. Think of it as writing on a piece of paper. The author now shows that if the observer, after writing the message, loses any memory of doing that, then one can swap the observers of the two branches. So the observer gets a message from the other branch, not because the message crossed from one parallel universe to the other, but because the observer did. As the author puts it, the observer in superposition can receive a message written by a distinct copy of themselves in the multiverse. And the observer who never wrote the message nevertheless possesses it, while the observer who wrote it no longer has the message. And the stunning thing is that this is entirely compatible with quantum physics. The obvious question you may have now is, well, for one thing, how do you make sure that the observer completely forgets the message? And how does an observer cross from one branch into another? Mathematically, you can do this. In reality, well, it's difficult. You'd have to keep track of the exact quantum state of the observer's brain and be able to manipulate it. One might say that in practice, we don't actually need the observer to be a human being. We just need a sort of protocol for writing out a message. So if we can think of a protocol that's simple enough so that we can swap it from one branch to another, then we could realize this setup. Then again, this defeats the purpose, because if the thing that you swapped isn't an observer, then no communication happened between branches. This paper gets a 4 out of 10 on my bullshit meter. It's a nice paper in that I think it's technically correct and it points out an interesting loophole. The author also seems to be a young woman, so I can't say anything bad, otherwise people will complain about me again. The bullshit part is an illness of this entire discipline. It's that the way that they use the word observer has lost any relation to actual observers. In my book, an observer needs to at least have a brain. I'm not the trusting kind. I don't like it if companies keep track of why does light exist? Physicists actually have a good answer to that one. I spent so much time complaining about all the things that physicists still can't explain. I've almost forgotten to tell you how stunning it is that they did manage to explain some things. Light exists because electric charges exist. The connection between the two is the probably most underappreciated insight that's come out of physics in the past 100 years. It's called a gauge symmetry. And today I want to try and explain how that works with as little math as possible. Everyone needs a goal in life. To understand where light comes from, we first have to talk about electrons. Electrons are particles, but they're quantum particles, so they're also waves. This means that they have a wavelength and they have an amplitude that goes up and down. The thing is, though, a wave doesn't just have a wavelength and an amplitude, it also has what's called a phase. The phase tells you which part of the wave belongs to what point in space. You could say, for example, in this case, the minimum belongs to the position x equals 0, or maybe the minimum belongs at x equals 1. These two are the same waves with the same amplitude, but their phase is shifted. Mathematically, a phase shift just means adding a constant in the argument of the sine or cosine function. The important thing about these phases is now that they are relative. We can measure a difference between phases, but we can't measure their absolute value. The absolute value is meaningless. You fix it by convention, by saying, okay, the phase was 0 at this location at this time, and that might make your maths more convenient, but it's not physically meaningful. But think about it, the absolute phases of quantum particles are just convention and therefore shouldn't matter, is very similar to Einstein's insight that absolute velocities can't be measured and therefore shouldn't matter. And that worked very well for Einstein, didn't it? Gauge symmetry is based on the same idea. Make sure that arbitrary conventions don't matter. The challenging part is, though, that relative phases can be measured. So the absolute phases have no physical meaning. They're convention and you can choose them however you like, but that choice shouldn't affect the relative phases because you can measure those. To be fair, that all sounds rather lame. Okay, I get to pick the absolute phase and I can measure relative phases. Okay, what's the big deal? The big deal is that once you have electrons, this tells you how the electrons must move. To see this, imagine the entire space is full of electrons and they can move around because physics would be rather boring if nothing could move. I can then compare the phases of electrons in two places. So I have one here and one here. I bring them together and compare them and I read off the phase difference. If I shift the absolute phases the same way in both places and bring them together and compare, same result, so all is good. Nothing depends on my choice of the absolute phases. But we said that the phases can be whatever I want. They are convention. This means they can change from one place to the next. So I should be able to choose a different phase here than there. And now if I move this over and compare them, that does depend on my arbitrary choice. This isn't good because you see this relative phase, that's measurable. And now it depends on my arbitrary choice of phases in both places. This is bad. Physicists call this arbitrary choice a gauge. And that gauge, it shouldn't matter for the physics because you could pick a different one than I and we'd never agree on anything. It's like Germans have a different gauge for politeness than Americans. But back to the physics. Now comes the big insight that made all of particle physics work. You need to know how to adjust the phase as you move the electron. So what you do is you add information at every location in between the two places that tells you how you need to shift the phase so that this arbitrary choice doesn't matter. The way you do this is that you assume this information in between. It also depends on your arbitrary gauge. And if you take both together, the electron plus this extra information, then the arbitrariness drops out. If we have something that has a value at every location in space and time, physicists call that a field. So this information that you add, that's what's called the gauge field. Gauge phases field moving electrons. What? Bear with me. I have an example. Suppose you have an old-fashioned beam balance. If you have the same length of beams on both sides and the same weights, it's in balance. Now let's say that adding weights is like shifting the phases by an arbitrary amount. If you add the same weights on both sides, nothing changes. This is like saying the physics remains invariant under this arbitrary choice if it's the same in both places. But if you add a bigger weight on one side than on the other, that ruins the balance. This is like setting a different phase in one place than the other. This is your gauge. But that'd mean the physics depends on this arbitrary choice. Not good. So what you do is that whenever you add a weight, you also adjust the support of the balance arm. This is what the gauge field does. If you change both together, you always keep the balance. With the gauge field, the gauge doesn't matter. This is basically how gauge symmetries work. You tie two changes together so that the net cancels out. And you do this because quantities which are physically measurable shouldn't depend on arbitrary conventions. With a little bit of maths, what you need to move the electron from one place to another is a derivative. Suppose you have some wave, say a sine, with some argument that could depend on space and time. Now you add an arbitrary phase here, that's your gauge. If you take...
You're telling me that they agreed to fight him?
It's what they wrote.
Can you imagine how much possible trouble they would get? Is our guy on docket today?
No, well, he's on docket, but he's here present in court. He made bonds, so that I guess that gets rid of the issue about having to
come on up.
BVR.
Last name again is
Gomez, and it's Matthew Gomez. You may have a couple on the docket. And you did invite us to rehear PC this morning. The case I know is 183 days old. I have talked with the state. They're still trying to work with felony to see if they would approve him to do a mental health PTI, which we thought was appropriate.
Mental health in the case upstairs or our case?
Yes.
Are you ready for a PC? Please?
So, Your Honor, I think Barnes was reading of it. I didn't know if you want the actual officer here or not.
No. This is just cursory, but I want to know if you're ready for any arguments or whatnot. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we're not addressing the new one whatsoever.
Yeah.
No. That's
Tuesday.
Tell me. Go for it. Alex, please.
On August 25th, 2024, the officer was dispatched to a complaint unknown call at Harris County, Texas, with the call slip stating the following. The caller was rambling and refused to answer questions. The caller advised he has warrants for arrest and wants police to pick him up before he does something. The caller states he will be waiting outside the location for police. The caller was irate and upset. The caller was making threats towards police, stating they better be strong because he was going to fight and don't dispatch female officers. The officer arrived on scene and immediately noticed the defendant coming out of his house in an aggressive manner. The defendant took off his shirt and hat and was coming towards the officer quickly and was trying to get the officer to physically fight him. The defendant repeatedly stated he wanted the officer to fight him, and the officers immediately drew their tasers and began giving the defendant verbal commands. The defendant repeatedly refused to comply with the verbal commands and continued telling the officer and his partner to put their tasers away so they could fight him. The officer took the defendant to the ground by tackling him and used force to put the defendant's hands behind his back. The defendant was physically resisting and yelling.
Just
legs and still refusing to comply.
Did they find anything? You said they searched, but they didn't find anything?
There's no notes, no finding anything or completing the search, and they only know that they arrested him on the warrants as well as the additional resisting charge.
What warrant did he have?
He had municipal.
I'll give you a second.
Municipal warrants, Your Honor.
Just municipal?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yes, but I think a couple things are, and I know that's the DA's summary of the longer dims. And the longer dims notes reflect that when the officers got to the scene where they had been asked to come out and make an arrest and, or been asked to come out
you pull the man thing where you... That's what you do when you use your... Wow! Do that thing where you pull the man thing where you...
Out and told there's warrants, but they get there and they don't have a chance to confirm anything or find out who he is or any of that stuff. But what's written in their longer DIMS report, the officers write down, he asked us to put our tasers away and fight him. And so it says in there that the officers made the decision to put their tasers away and go hands-on with him. And so that is...
You're saying, you're telling me that they agreed to fight him?
That's what they wrote.
Can you imagine how much possible trouble they would get if they would agree to something like that?
And I don't think that it's agree to fight him in the sense that, I'm not saying the officers did anything wrong whatsoever. I'm saying when you arrive on the scene and somebody says, I have warrants, we know that's not enough as a legal matter to make an arrest. I could walk up and say, I've got warrants to our deputy. I can't be arrested for that. Maybe he can go back and find out more information, but that's not enough.
I think that's reasonable.
Yes.
Yeah.
And but then the conduct is not that he comes up and starts fighting with the officers, but invites them to engage in physical contact. And I give them credit for putting their tasers away like he requested, but they write in there, we did exactly what he said. We put our tasers away and then decided to go hands-on with the suspect. It's 2-on-1.
But I don't think the reasonable interpretation would be that they are agreeing to fight. I don't think that's reasonable because I can't imagine how much trouble they would get in. They'd be fired.
To me, it's not about whether no one over here, and I don't think the state is either, is saying that the officers did anything wrong. I think we're assessing his conduct, and he has the right, as does anybody, it's just First Amendment protected speech, to invite someone to engage in physical conduct. And if they do, that's not him resisting arrest. And I don't really even think that that's the kind of the basis of the charge. They can't even arrest him because there's nothing to arrest him for at that moment. If you ran his name and found out the warrants and found out he did have active warrants, you could arrest him. But there's nothing for them to even arrest him for at that moment. And just walking up and saying, hey, I want to fight you, that's not enough to be placed under arrest. But what happens is they get him and get control of him and then start searching him. But pursuant to what? I mean, there's nothing. They still haven't verified.
No, I think that it's so difficult to be a police officer nowadays. I
understand
the fine line that you have to walk between, because of social media, because of cameras, because of just the way that the public policy and people come down on officers and how they react to situations and how they can get in trouble themselves. that if you see a person who's not acting normal, they're having like a mental health episode, how do you quell that down? Do you tase them? Because we know that we've got situations where officers go rogue and they just start kill them.
No, well, we've seen it too many times. And
it's really, and it sucks, it's sad, but.
And I'm not criticizing the officers one bit about that. If it's the case that he tells them, when you get here, I want to fight. And when they get there, he says, I want to fight. And put your tasers up and fight me. And they put their tasers up and decide to go hands-on with him. I respect them for having done it.
I would like to know, because I'm not prepared to roll on this. What I would like to know is, what is the policy of the department when you have a person who's having a mental health episode? How do you handle that? Do you arrest them as like a community caretaking, right? Because in an effort to prevent them from hurting themselves or hurting another person, do you arrest them, right? Or what do you do? Because I don't know. So, because that's what's happening here. We have someone clearly who's having a mental health episode.
Well, and you see why I thought mental health PTI is the appropriate route.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
So, and I don't mind being patient while you think about that, and I go back and.
I'd like to know what the officer's mindset, number one, at the time of when this episode is happening. Number two, what is the policy when you have this kind of thing happening? What do you do? I don't know. You know?
Sure.
Do you arrest them in an effort to prevent them from hurting themselves? Because who's to say they might have a gun that you don't know about that's stuck right here, that they're they're just gonna start shooting?
Right.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
So, and I don't.
and parents, absolutely. Don't teachers still need signed permission to have their kids leave campus for this type of shit? That's the thing, right? Is that they should need that. And if they're not taking that and they're not doing all of that, then you need to go after them. And if you had somebody going after them doing that, all this stuff would go away overnight. This is an old video. Oh, this one? Yeah, this is, look at this.
Every woman that's getting an abortion is due to medical procedures?
No, most abortions aren't.
No, they're not.
Abortion was of a dead embryo.
Okay, sorry to hear that.
That's most abortions.
That's not most abortions.
Yes, it is. Because
have you looked at statistics?
Most abortions are cleanups after miscarriages, and women can't even get those denied.
No, it's less than 1.7%.
No, you're a fucking moron.
You don't know the statistics.
Miscarriages are extremely common, and most women opt to have.
Miscarriages and abortion are different. What is abortion?
No, a miscarriage is a medical abortion.
No, no, it's not. Okay, let me educate you. Okay.
Yes, it
hold on.
is.
Hold on. Get back. Hey, get back. Hey.
Hey, that's not okay. Don't put your hand.
Hey, get back. Stop.
Oh my God.
Stop. Don't put your hands on her. Please, I don't want to scare your daughter. Please get away.
She's crashing out next to, she left her kid, so she should get in a fight over this? Oh my God. Crime more, bitch. Look at this. They're so violent, aren't they? Oh my, in front of her kid too. And she had a full fucking milkshake and she threw it at him. No accountability. I know, again, the reason why these people do this is because they're not afraid of getting hit back. That's what I think. I think that if you do this and somebody punches you in the face, I think it is completely deserved. If you're one of these women that's going around hitting people and being violent and aggressive, and some guy punches you in the face, you shouldn't have done it. Yeah, you shouldn't have done it. I hate this weird double standard that we have, that women can just be violent and aggressive like this, and men have no way to respond to it other than just get hit. Yeah, you flagged for PvP, exactly. You shouldn't have done it. And so base, they're kind of empathetic. Yeah, in front of her kid, I know. As a woman, I completely agree. Yeah, there's no reason to hit somebody, absolutely. I will 100% defend yourself, yeah. And who thinks this is okay? All of the women that do it. Do you think this woman would do that if she thought that the guy was going to punch her at full force in the face? Do you really think that she would do this? Of course not. She wouldn't even imagine that. The reason why she's doing it is because she thinks that she can get away with it. Respect to the guy for not hitting back in front of the kid, though. I'd do it. Actually, I wouldn't because I'd go to jail, right? But like, and that's the problem, is the legal system is completely in favor of people like this. It's totally in favor, but I would support this. Like, if this guy knocked this bitch out right in front of her kid, I would say based. Absolutely unfathomably based. That's the way it should be. What's your take on abortion? I don't give a fuck if people want to get abortions or not, but it's not the problem. Just because I don't like abortions doesn't mean I get to punch somebody who does, or sorry, just because I like abortions, or not like, but I don't care about abortions, doesn't mean I get to punch somebody in the face who does. Too much force, but it warrants a slap? I disagree. I want to live in a world where you don't like to touch people because if you touch them, they could hurt you. I think that we can live in a world where touching people without their consent is not something that you're allowed to do, and people don't do it. I don't like this touching people without their consent situation. It's weird. Yeah, hurt, not kill. Well, people can get killed if you hit them. That's just what happens. So don't touch people. It's that simple. It is literally that simple. Yeah, it's respect people's boundaries. How do you feel about duels with real guns? Sure, if it's consensual, have fun. Yeah, definitely. And what was this here? I think a fist bump's the best. She attacked him, so any self-defense is reasonable. Absolutely. And yeah, I'm very glad to see this. And hopefully more people do that. And I would totally support that. Oh, watch this.
You don't step out of the car, we're going to break the window and we're going to remove you from the vehicle. You're going to be arrested for felony obstruction.
I want your supervisor. Are you
I understand that.
Here we go.
I don't need to provide.
Are you a supervisor?
No, I'm not required to provide you.
I'm pregnant in this car, and I don't want it to escalate.
Okay.
I'm trying to get home with my sister.
Okay.
And she has the right to call your supervisor. Why can't you try to get home? If I feel like I'm unsafe, I don't feel safe.
We're going to break your window. We're going to break the window if you don't step out.
And then you're coming out anyway. So.
Okay, you're under arrest for.
I'm gone.
What's she under arrest for?
Now.
What's she under?
Without a license. Step out of the car.
Driving without a license. Big mistake. Oh, here we go.
No, step out of the car.
Isn't it crazy how the police are just adult daycare? Isn't that insane to me? That they're basically just adult daycare. None of this had to happen. Like, I never really understood the kind of bullshit that these police officers had to deal with until I really watched some of these body cam videos. And, like, these people are fucking morons. Yeah, it's like it's adult daycare. Like, we're spending all this money micromanaging these retards. Just get out of the car. Just get out. Jesus. Just open it. And she's trying to drive. She's trying to drive the car. Ooh.
They're taking off.
Man, what? She out of her mind. Look at that. Oh, shit. Look.
Come on.
Who's she hit? Who's she at? All of this was escalated because she just wouldn't get out of the car. Everything, all of this. Like, you're about to ruin your life because you just wouldn't get out of the car. Adult daycare.
Yeah, we got car fleet now.
Here we go.
Maybe an appeal.
Here we go. Here we go. Go get her ass. Here we go. There it is, and... Oh. Let me see this again. I'll pull it over, you guys can see it.
Called Detroit.
That's a random ass person too.
Man.
That's a random ass person. That's her. She crashed out hard. Jesus.
Oh, they got babies in the car.
There's a baby in the car? Jesus Christ.
When you guys come up here and sit with them, I'll go take care of him.
Oh my God.
Get on the floor now! Get out of here! Get on the floor now!
Yep.
Get on the floor!
Wild animals, you're right. She didn't do nothing. What do you mean she didn't do nothing? Are you kidding me? At this point, you are crashed out with your car like upside down. Oh, I didn't do anything. Like, are you retarded?
Get on the floor! You didn't do nothing. It's all just sit down.
It's all, yeah.
I'm trying to get down.
Get that.
Turn around. Turn around.
I love how, like, what do you think is going to happen? You think you're going to get away?
She didn't do nothing. She's pregnant. She didn't do. She's the backseat.
The backseat driver?
Backseat driver. Please get her up. Okay.
Manslaughter?
Don't worry. No, I understand. Don't cause yourself problems. Nothing.
Can you imagine how great society would be if we just locked all these people up? Like, how much you want to bet this bitch probably had problems before this? You could just lock this person up a while ago. Like, we'd be living. I'm telling you guys, like, there'd be no jewel cases in CVS. You'd be able to go. This is where we'd be at. All right, I'm gonna let y'all know this is where we're gonna be at. You would be able to go to McDonald's, and they would have. This is. I know you will not believe this. They would have the little things of barbecue sauce out there on the tray that you can pick up yourself. You would be able to go over there and say, oh, I need some more barbecue sauce for my nuggets. Let me go get it for myself. Okay? That's the world that you used to have. That's the world before we let these animals run wild and cause all these problems. The part's missing where she killed the family? Yeah, I mean, listen, like, again, the problem is that somebody like this, I can almost guarantee you, like, let me do a little bit of fucking guesswork, all right? How much do you want to bet that this retard, along with her retard friends, probably have prior convictions, other arrests, and other problems, that the reason why they didn't want to get out of the car is they might have had a warrant out for their arrest, or they might have been doing something else against the law. And so the solution to this is you put them in the box. And if you don't do that, you have these morons running around, and you have the police that are effectively the retard wrangling squad that have to go out there and go after them. Suicidal empathy keeps these people in society. I know that. I know. And anything, would you want a high trust society? Absolutely. Shoot them if they drive off? Maybe. Probably a reason why she's driving without a license. Missing, she accuses the police of trying to kill her? Yeah. And what is this here? It's color, not culture. It does have nothing to do with it. If they were white, it'd be the same thing. If they're black, it's the same thing. It's not about that. Like, it's about not listening to the police and driving off really fast. If that's most black people or most white people, it doesn't make a difference. It's the action that's bad. Anybody doing this needs to go to fucking jail. It's insane. It's how you behave. Yeah, it's how you act, man. And what happened to the other car, though? Does it say anything? Oh, they're dead. Yeah, they're dead. So that's what happens. And who said that shit? Just some guy, right? And that's crazy woman. Yeah. And it's really, really sad. It is very sad for me to see this happen. And the worst part about it is the fact that, you know, if you let these people run wild and do this stuff, they will destroy everything in society. They will. They will destroy everything in society and make everything awful and bad and a huge problem. Fuck these people's parents? Yeah, I know. Anyone doing this needs to be shot. I don't know if they could shoot her or not, but like if they had, I wouldn't have complained. I'll tell you that. And yeah, it's embarrassing, man. It really is. And she killed a father and son. That's tragic.
Everything James Baldwin's written.
The thing is that you can say it's tragic, but you have to, the solution is you have to go after these people directly, because if you don't do that, then they're just going to keep pushing this stuff as much as you want. If you don't change the root cause, nothing will change. You'll still be talking shit like this 50 years from now. Well, it's easy to solve this problem. Really, it is. Like, you put anybody that does this in jail. And like in school, see, like people that act this way, the reason why they act this way is because they were allowed to act this way as kids, and they probably act this way in school. So the way you solve this problem is you just hold people accountable for their behavior early on, and then they never turn into this. That's really, there's signs early on. Yeah, like, you really think this is the first crash out she's had? Yeah, it's simple.
Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar, and ladies and gentlemen, I'll be completely real with you. I did not ever expect to be making a video on this trash fire, but I'm sure a lot of you guys know about the dumpster fire that is High Guard. Now, I'll be real, I wasn't going to cover this, mostly because I'm not so much as a multiplayer gamer these days. Anytime I see multiplayer slop, live service shit thrown at me, I'm very apprehensive, even downloading it if it turns out to be free. But this is such a train wreck that it actually makes Concord look somewhat stable in comparison. Now, of course, ladies and gentlemen, obviously I wasn't going to make this video for no reason. There is a much deeper side to the story, but to understand, let's talk about the very beginning. So you probably remember the Game Awards. I made a video on it, giving like my, what game do I expect to win? Obviously, we all watched the Game Awards. Congratulations, Expedition 33. But there was one reveal of the Game Awards towards the very end before we tied it off. Everyone kind of expected it to be like the biggest reveal because you're kind of ending off the world's biggest Game Awards show with that reveal. And it wasn't Elder Scrolls 6, no gameplay for that. It wasn't anything else that gamers were kind of going to bat an eye. But it actually turned out to be this game called High Guard. Now, I remember the time me, Maru, and Kyle were watching the Game Awards, and we were just like, you know what, man? This looks like dog shit. It was just another live service game. I'm at a point where if you show me footage for a video game like this, I actually start doing double takes because I can't identify if I'm looking at like High Guard or if I'm looking at Overwatch 2 or if I'm looking at another hero shooter. It's just to a point where this entire thing has gotten so tiring. Again, I'm not going to make these videos just for like the viewership angle of it. Like, I'm not going to do it just because it's like the hot trend. The reality of it is I had no care because hero shooters for me were effectively just a dead thing, right? Like, I didn't care about this game. I didn't care about even Marvel Rivals. I didn't really care about, you know, Overwatch 2. For me, this is a franchise. This is a type of gaming that I just cannot get into. But anyways, I decided because of this video, I'm going to download the game on PlayStation 5, by the way, because on PC, I can't really play this underneath Linux, I guess, because it has Secure Boot TPM2. I didn't even waste my time downloading it, okay? I'm not going to install anything that needs to be this invasive on my computer. Though I downloaded it on my PlayStation, I'll tell you right now, my worries were about as I expected. It was a boring, absolutely, you know, I played one game, and that's pretty much all it came down to. It wasn't really particularly exciting. It was a game that, you know, I feel like if you're in the hero shooter stuff, it's serviceable enough, right? Like, I'm not going to say it's a terrible game. Like, technically it starts up, you can get to the main menu, you can find a game, and the game is certainly a game. You know, there's nothing technically wrong about it. It's just, personally, for me, incredibly fucking boring. Anyways, though, High Guard is so dead, ladies and gentlemen, that apparently if you go to their actual website at High Guard, so this is the actual developer, Wildlight GG, so you know it's great when it's like, here's our game, available, free now. Let's go to the official site here real quick. Oh, and it's unavailable. So, you know, when you see this, it's not a good sign. It never is a good sign. So immediately at this point, I'm like, hold on, let me check those Steam charts, I guess. Maybe I'll see if the game is somewhat active. Nope. There is, as of now, 915 players playing the game, right? It's long after work hours. People are able to get on and play some video games. This is a dead fucking game. If you go to the max for this, it started off around 100,000 players when it dropped, and it immediately went down to nothing. And you know what? I kind of expected this to happen, which is one of the reasons I wasn't going to make the video about it, because I knew when they announced this game at the Game Awards, there was literally no mention, no hum, no tweet, no gameplay video, no developer talking about it. It basically just went from mentioned at Game Awards to launched January 26th. And yeah, the launch was about as exciting as you can expect. Players played it for a few days, and they were like, yeah, this game sucks. You didn't really lose anything by playing the game. It's completely fucking free. It's just boring. You know when you release your game for free and people can't latch onto it, it's just probably not a great game. It's simple as that. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, down the entire road over here with around a 98.5% player loss, meaning that there are actual NFTs, I shit you not, there are actual NFTs that have survived a loss smaller than High Guard. Not by much, mind you, but somehow they did. It's crazy to look at it that way. So yeah, anyways, it feels kind of bad because initially it felt like this indie company was just sort of like blown up by Jeff Keighley at the Game Awards. And they were kind of sabotaged that way, right? Because obviously when you're thrown into the Game Awards, and apparently it seemed like it was a free like showcase, like Jeff didn't even take money for that shit, apparently. And yeah, obviously the expectations were raised, the game wasn't that great, and yeah, it pretty much came out to it. Now, one of the reasons that I'm actually making this video now is that there's been some reports coming out that apparently High Guard was financed by a Chinese tech giant that some of you know as Tencent. Now, Tencent is effectively the Google of China. Like, they're one of the largest tech firms, not just in China, by the way, but internationally. They're huge. They have a lot of, you know, they have a lot of fingers in every pie, and specifically when it comes to gaming, they've probably been behind some of the biggest indie games that you can imagine, right? Now, I think when you call yourself an indie company, it kind of means something, okay? Independent games are games made by basically just a handful of people, right? Not teams that are up in the hundreds, which apparently Wildlight, before they actually had such an intense amount of layoffs, literally 2 weeks after High Guard dropped, the game drops, it fails, and these guys don't have the money to keep going forward. So massive layoffs start. And apparently their company had like about 100 people working at it. And, you know, comparing them to like companies like BioWare, which also had their own layoffs, we consider BioWare to be like AAA, but these guys to be indie, and they're kind of roughly at the same size. Now, of course, obviously the actual source for this comes from a report by a publication known as GameFile, and they're the ones that said that Tencent was secretly financing this shooter, right? Even though the company Wildlight said that it was fully funded. Now, they don't share anything. Nobody has talked about this, but I wouldn't be surprised from seeing this game dropped and seeing it basically at the end of the Game Awards, which, you know, if it was a paid-for ad spot, would be a pretty expensive ad spot. Now, I consider this to be pretty fucking deceptive, simply because this is not an indie company, ladies and gentlemen. This is actually a huge company, especially if they're backed by a company like Teamy, which for anybody that doesn't know, they've been behind so many of the multiplayer-like shooters. Things like Call of Duty Mobile, things like Delta Force, and apparently now they're financing the people that made Highguard, which basically, for anybody that doesn't know, is Concord 2.0. Now, the game, from my understanding, isn't exactly in a good situation, considering the fact that their website is getting taken down. The game basically has less than 1,000 players on Steam. You know, some people trying to find matches. It's been absolutely hilarious seeing them just sitting at a fucking login screen. And you know, that's the thing about multiplayer stuff for me, right? Like, as somebody that's not even into multiplayer shit, the last multiplayer game that I played before Highguard, I'm not even joking, was Metal Gear Solid Delta's Fox Hunt mode. And I just played that because I'm a huge Metal Gear fan, but trying to find a match on it literally now, before I recorded like Highguard footage, you cannot find a match on that game anymore because a lot of these multiplayer games come out and they pretty much just die. Metal Gear is a very rare exception though, because Konami didn't put anything towards advertising that game. Like, unless you were following Metal Gear like the nut job that I am because I'm a fan of the franchise, you probably knew that mode existed. Some of you watching are probably like, wait, the Metal Gear Solid Delta has a multiplayer mode? Yeah, sometimes these things don't even get advertised. Companies just drop that shit in, expecting players to like harvest in basically a player base to grow, and then effectively money to be made through microtransactions. And that's sort of the thing, right? Like, a lot of these companies release these live service games, and these live service games don't really end up going anywhere because there's just no real hook to them anymore. Every single one of these games effectively plays the exact same. You know, back in the day when I used to really be in multiplayer stuff during my teenage years, early adult, you know, I used to play games like, obviously, Call of Duty. You played your Counter-Strikes, you played Battlefield, you played Halo, you played Gears of War, and each of these 5 games were so dramatically different from one another, right? They
Alright, time to kill this session. First I need to do a warm-up. I can't afford to injure myself. Damn it, this is tough. I'm already losing my motivation. Maybe I should quit the treadmill already and get started. I don't have a lot of time anyway. No, you're not going to give up already. You stop when you're finished, not when you're tired. Damn it, I am already tired doing this warm-up. Back in the days I didn't even need a warm-up. I missed being able to cold bench big weights. How old is that kid? That's an impressive weight for such a young kid. That was was a nice set. I need to watch out for my shoulders. Why is it that every time I try to increase the weight on this exercise, my shoulder starts hurting? £260 bench press without warm-up sets. Are you for real? Man, I remember when I was able to do those weights. The bench press especially hurts as you get older. That technique is horrible. This is peak ego lifting. Wait till you're older. Luckily I'm over that phase. Correct form is better for the long run. Why not give it a try? I'll show these newcomers what 10 years of experience looks like. Let's see if I can still do 220, my 1 rep max from 6 years ago. Thanks guys.
That was close, bro. You shouldn't try these weights at your age.
What?
Leave those weights for the big guys.
I used to be bigger. Although I haven't exercised less over the years, my growth has declined. I've had my prime. I need to accept that I now train for maintenance instead of growth. There is an option though. Maybe I can try a small cycle? What am I thinking? This goes too far. I still want kids one day. I just need to accept my fate as it is. I'm not 18 anymore.
Yeah, buddy. Lightweight.
I was gonna achieve that goal, and I was gonna be the best I could be.
Every one of us is a little bit of this in us. You just don't know it yet.
Hey bro, how are you doing?
I've felt better. I should start training, but I've been unmotivated for quite some time now.
Why is that?
I don't know. I've been doing this for a long time now, but I'm not making progress like I used to. As a matter of fact, I'm not making progress at all.
And why is that?
It must be because of my age. I eat the same as always, I train the same as always, but I'm getting older. My body is declining and I can't keep up.
Dude, listen to yourself. You say you're doing everything the same as always, and you're blaming your age. That's so easy to blame it on. You sound like you're 50. Being 30 plus is not an excuse to cry about not getting results. In fact, for a lot of people it's a peak time for their fitness. What you actually need to do is shake up your routine and start eating differently.
What?
You're tired all the time. It's not because of your age only. It's because of your lifestyle. Stop smoking and drinking the whole time and eat healthier. Your body will feel like it's 20 again. Obviously, you need to watch out for lifting extreme weights and you'll have to do more stretching, but that's actually something that would be beneficial for each phase of your life. So stop crying and whining, shake up your routine, break through your fitness comfort zone, and reinvent yourself. Listen to your body, but also challenge it and let it listen to you.
This is the same guy getting slapped out again. Larry Wheels slapped Dean the Great. Dean repeatedly complimented his wife, asked her for a hug, and continued to disrespect him. Is this how it happened?
From the restaurant.
Hey, will she agree with me? Can I get a hug?
No, don't do. Oh, whoa. I know we're streaming it. No, hey, bro. Don't disrespect this motherfucker like that.
Nobody, bro.
Hey.
Honestly, W Rampage.
Don't give nuclear.
If I'm not hitting, then we splitting, baby girl. I ain't paying this check unless you let me get those cheeks. Come on now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, when you see it on TikTok.
$200? That's $318. It's crazy work.
That's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
Yeah.
Dude, here's my whole thing when women say, it's not that bad. Then why don't you pay for it?
Gotcha, bitch.
Brokey?
Am I hitting tonight?
No?
So 2 checks then? So 2 checks?
So 2 checks then. I love it. He said, so 2 checks then? Am I hitting tonight? I'm telling y'all, man, you got to be real careful on these first dates, brother. Like, and also, I wouldn't say take women to nice restaurants on that first date. I would stay away from it, bro. A low buy-in, real low buy-in. The lower buy-in, the better.
Hi, comedian.
I'll get coffee, yeah?
Coffee. You have horse teeth. Shots fired! Honestly, taking you to get some hay might be a good fit.
Yeah.
That's a ick, mate. That's a fucking ick. Drop me home.
You know, it's another ick. Having your teeth all smooth just the same. Like, there's no personality to the teeth.
Fucking coffee? Do you think I am?
The bigger ick is going.
Bro, I love it. No matter what men do, it's an ick, right? No matter what we do. No.
How do you think the first day is going?
How does the think it's going? I don't even like the water. I'm scared of drowning. You have me here battling you, and you're gonna ask me how do you think it's going?
Is that in Austin?
You're gonna ask me how you think it's going.
And the thing is, this woman is a 4 all day.
Shots fired! It's the first day.
A lot of girls would think, oh, we got a little, like, I don't even know what you call that, a little pontoon thingy. You know, it's a cute first date, you know?
Told me you're saving up money this whole month just to take me to McDonald's.
I told you I needed to get the steering wheel.
That's cheap anyways. Why would you get that?
It's not cheap. Look at this.
So how much did you spend on that?
Like $2,000.
You couldn't...
God, that's a lot for a steering wheel.
$2,000 and you couldn't take me on a date?
Well, you don't need to go on a date, but I need a steering wheel.
Loser. You're
look at this. Look at this. Look at this.
God.
He had to.
Hey, he's got his priorities straight. Good man. Good man. Got his priorities straight. He knows. He gets it.
Y'all, we just got into it at the restaurant because...
Not he then left me at the restaurant.
I asked him, tell me something about your last name that makes your last name worth passing on. Like, I want to hear about the lineage.
The lineage? Baby girl, just look at the forehead. That's all you need to know. The lineage. If a woman ever asked me that, I'd be like, I don't know, dude. I'm pretty stupid. Stupid? I'm just a regular, everyday dude. Like, I don't know. What are you looking for? Royal blood? Because I don't have it.
I'm walking by myself in the parking lot. They canceled.
I don't blame.
I would have canceled too. Are you kidding me? What about your last name makes you want to? I don't know. I didn't ask for this last name, dude.
Want to shopping tomorrow?
Shopping. When a woman says, "Where are we going shopping?" You know what that tells me?
She's a runner, she's a track star.
What? Why you can stay out of this.
You said tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh hell no.
Just give me like some time. Just give me like some time to like think.
We can get to know each other, go out, skydive, you know, eat, do some fun shit, come back. Yeah, don't that sound like a vibe?
I ain't gonna lie, that make pretty sense.
Right. It's the only sense.
He's staring at the camera.
Good Lord, and she's preening like a bird. That's why they call them birds, man, because these women be preening like crazy.
Would you rather go buy me an engagement ring right now,
Jesus.
or
Leave.
decimate everyone in that restaurant?
You're insane.
I could just go down to a pawn shop and buy a fake ring, so yeah, that works for me.
So you want to give me a fake ring?
If it involves getting out of well, yes.
So is there a reason that you don't want to propose to me?
Because we've just gone on our first date.
Oh.
You sound insane.
And what's the problem?
You probably have a ton of mileage. I don't know you from Adam and Steve.
Any of you watching this, if you don't see the problem either, I'm very concerned about you.
Facts, though. Dude, I was so I accidentally roasted an ally yesterday, and I said a jalapais, and people were like, a jalapais? Like, yes, it's an inside joke. So I had a professor in college where instead of saying apologize, he would say a jalapais. So just know when I say some of these stupid words that sound like, did he say that wrong? Most of the time I'm saying it on purpose. I went on a first date with this girl, and she said, I got to drop her off at her baby daddy's house when we're finished so she can see him. What are you trying to see, baby?
I need you to take me to my baby daddy's house after our date.
Why?
Because I need to see him.
Why do you need to see him?
He texted me and said that he wants to see me.
You think it would have been nice to tell me you had a baby daddy?
It's only our
That's none of your business.
first date.
I know, but that's still weird.
Listen, it's cool. We're just dating, me and you. We went on a little date.
But I'm not okay.
My kid is with my mom. And
Is your kid's with him?
No, my kid is with my mom, and I gotta go stop at his
So
house.
what's the vendetta of going over to his house in such a rush?
He told me he wanted me to stop by, so I'm gonna stop by.
Okay, you know what that's...
And you're gonna get your back blown out. You're about to go over there and do some south to mouth.
You know what that's insinuating, right?
If you want you gotta remember that that's my man at the end of the day.
Nah, I'm definitely not gonna be...
If you want to buck with me, you got to remember that's my man at the end of the day. Girl, you are out of your freaking mind.
Be cool with that at all.
Well, that's just how it is. So you guys.
I'm mind blown right now. Since when? Like, that's really bad.
It's not bad. You just.
How dope. You're right. It's not bad. It's absolutely diabolical. Diabolically should be your Greek name. That is insane. Your Greek mythology name, Diabolicles. POV. You bestied so hard that she showed up to one of your dates and started interviewing him.
And learning how to communicate properly.
What the is this woman trying to look like somebody's auntie?
Patience properly.
Oh, great. You brought up.
Like, what is this woman doing? Get her out of there. Dude, this is why I tell you guys, man, like, especially ladies, they sabotage. These ladies will 100% sabotage you, bro, because you'll get into it, you'll start liking a guy, start talking to him, and the worst thing a woman can do that's trying to date a man is let her single friends meet him, because she's just going to try to sabotage your relationship. It's 100% what she's going to do. Went on a date with a Tinder girl, and she brought her friend?
On a date with a Tinder girl, and she brought her friend.
Bro, the stories write themselves. So they're just sitting there bestieing out with her little big back chicken-headed friend. Big and you're just sitting there, and they're gonna be like, when the bill comes, they're gonna be like, you got me, right? It's crazy work. When she brings her friend to our first date and doesn't tell me, and now I gotta pay for both. Boy, you better not pay. Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. I ain't paying for that. Chat. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree. I ain't paying for that. If you and your little chicken-headed friend showing up, y'all paying for y'all food.
Trading our friend's first date with a Tinder guy.
At least
Shorts and
we're
flip-flop?
eating good.
Shorts and
We
flip-flops?
told the waiter it was going bad, and he said she was beautiful, so we gave him her number.
And then
She told us to help, so we pretended to just run into her and invited them to sit with us.
I'm afraid those aren't
I
protected.
mean, I feel bad for the guy, but also he didn't really look like he was just, taking it too serious. He showed up in a hat and shorts and a t-shirt. But the thing is, dude, first dates are always awkward. I've never been on a first date that was like, oh my God, it's just, sunshine and rainbows. This is amazing. The tough thing about a first date is giving the facade of who you really are. Because I believe there's three versions of yourself, right? The way you see yourself, the way other people perceive you, and the way you think other people see you. So on that first date, you're really just trying to, put up kind of a front, a mirage of who you are, so this person can get to know you, but not get to know truly who you are. Because some of us are diabolical creatures. Y'all know from knowing me enough that if you call the number, you want to give me a ring, you call this, you're getting me unfiltered. I had a guy call yesterday, 42-year-old gentleman, got his life together, makes great money, has a good job, finance bro, and he's like, man, I have a really hard time, keeping these women. And we started talking, and after a while, I was like, bro, I figured you out. You're the nice guy. You're the nice guy. You want to make everybody feel good, which is cool. But in the dating market right now, you kind of got to be rude. You can't be super nice. You can't be like, yeah, I just want to make everybody happy. Like, you can't seek to want to be understood so bad. The woman should want to seek to understand you. So it's a fine line between being your authentic self and also being a little bit forward. But a lot of men go on first dates knowing that they could lose someone. What I tell guys is go into the first date and automatically think she's not into me. I can't lose something I don't have, right? You can't lose this girl if you don't have her. So don't think, oh, I gotta win this girl over. I gotta do everything right. No, just be yourself, bro. Especially if you're a little bit older, 25, 30, 35. Dude, just be yourself and just ask all the hard questions. Hey, what are you? Are you a liberal? Okay, cool. Are you a feminist? Yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it. Like, you need to almost next them quicker than they next you, because when you tell a woman no, she wants it more. It's like telling a kid to, press the red button. Don't press that. They're going to want to press it. Every time. Okay, so I know you guys, I've talked about getting on the Whatever podcast multiple times with you guys. Sadly, Brian wants 10 bands. He wants 10 bands to get on the show, which I was like, this is insane work. It is what it is, but it's a goal of mine to get on the show. I've been thinking about different ways to get on the show, and I had a guy from a place called Free Cash reach out to me. Yes, it sounds like a scam. I 100% agree. And I thought it was a scam too. But all I need you guys to do is just download the app. I don't need you to play the games. If you want to download or if you want to play the games, cool. Free Cash is one of those things you can, and the link's in the description. You can, it does pay you real money, but apparently it's pretty difficult to get the money. Like, you got to beat these games. Sometimes they're unbeatable. You can do surveys as well and if you sign up, you get you get $5 free. So there's $5 on me. But the reason I want to do this, and I'm being super transparent with you guys, and I told the guys at Free Cash, like, I'm gonna be honest with my audience. I'm not gonna sit here and lie and be like, yeah, you get all the free money in the world. That's not the case. But I get $8 for everybody that signs up. My goal is basically using this money. See, it looks like some of you guys have already signed up. Daily earnings, $24. If I can get this to 10 bands, I'm gonna get on the Whatever podcast, because I hate asking for money. I hate being like, guys, do you mind if you could, maybe hook a brother up with 10,000? No, it's too much. It's too much. You guys are already awesome enough. You watch, and I appreciate you. But literally, all you gotta do is sign up, put in your information. You don't have to play any of the games. You can delete the app. I'll still get the money. So that's the whole point of it. So for some of you guys that want to support, but you don't have the money to, this is a great way to do it. You can download. I think it's only on iPhone though. You can scan that QR code. Which is really it's pretty much the only way I figured out that you guys could, I guess, donate and you don't have to spend your own money. So there's my plug.
Like, I can just sit there and I have to be nice to people that I don't like every day, all day. So like, when I get home, the last thing I want to do is come like be nice to somebody, even if I want to.
You can tell he's counting the minutes.
She said she didn't want to come home after a work day and be nice to somebody. This is crazy work.
Look for in a guy.
Gotta be loyal, to be honest. It's very hard to find loyalty in Miami.
I'm a loyal guy. Do you have a boyfriend right now or no? Not really?
Boyfriend calling.
Hello?
Can't make this stuff up, dude.
Where's my horse? Bye.
Your horse?
Oh my god, shut up. You toxic?
Me?
Yeah. I'm kind of toxic.
Really?
Yeah.
It's hard to find loyalty.
Hey, toxic kitty's some of the best kitty, let me tell you. I'm telling y'all, bro. Keep it toxic, baby girl. That's what I like. And here's another thing I was telling this 42-year-old guy that called. He lives in New York, which is a ridiculously liberal city. And he's like, almost every girl I go out with, Levi, is super liberal, and they're feminist, and they have septum rings and blue hair and a bunch of tattoos. And I'm like, buddy, you fishing in a hole of a bunch of liberal women. If you want conservative women, like, try going down south. A lot of them here in Texas. But I always say, if you're in the big city, there's a ton of liberal women. There's more options in these bigger cities. But the problem is there's going to be a lot of liberal people, a lot of left-leaning weirdos. And so it's going to be your job to, like, if you live in the city, you have to date on a quantity mindset. If you live in a smaller area, you can date on a quality mindset, because the more than likely, like I live in Abilene, Texas, for example, a lot of conservative people here. You can feel the presence of God here. So a lot of Christians, a lot of conservatives. So it's not hard to meet women that are Christian and conservative. Hell, if you go to ACU, Abilene Christian University, and you get pregnant while you're going to college, they kick you out. It's like that over here. They don't play. Bickering leads to strain in the relationship. Oops, my bad, chat. I got it muted. Look at me. I'm stupid. My bad, chat.
To find loyalty in Miami? Well, ma'am, sounds like you're the perfect example.
Things which are putting like doubts in my head.
Like what?
Like, you know that you go from 0 to 100 like pretty quick. Feel like I've got to watch what I say in case you might just text me the wrong way, or stuff like when I've been like, say, going for a coffee in the morning, you wouldn't like come with me.
If you want to do more stuff, tell us.
I'm just telling you now. I'm not
You've
asking
not
you.
been here. Oh, that's all you like. Do you know what it is? I'm
not saying that every single day, once or twice a week.
Yeah,
oh, so I can't.
You've not.
Why are you saying you?
We can't blame this all on me.
It's crazy how it...
Bro, here's my whole thing on accountability in chat. Put one in the chat if you agree. I believe when you try to hold a woman accountable, she takes it personal. She thinks it's an attack on her character. Usually when you hold a man accountable, he applies it to that certain area you're telling him that he needs to take accountability. You know, say for example, a woman's at work, you criticize her job, she thinks that you're criticizing her as a person. As opposed to a man, you criticize his job. He's like, oh, this is just my job. This isn't who I am outside of work. That's the big difference.
Just met up with my date Vermouth, and she immediately says, we need to go down to Times Square. I need to get some money, which I thought was strange. But then I remembered she told me she was a dancer, and I figured...
Boy.
She's a runner, she's a track star.
She's a dancer, brother. Stop.
Oh, she's working for one of the Broadway shows. She's got to come down here and get a paycheck. So we get down here, and I'm excited because I'm like, oh, what if she takes me to The Lion King? It's one of my favorite...
Brother, come on. Wishful thinking.
ABBA musicals. But no, then she tells me to wait right on this corner next to the candy pecans, and she goes over and starts chatting up the guy dressed as Spider-Man. Well, they start getting a little bit upset with each other. The guy gets aggressive with her, and so I immediately go over, and I push him off of her. I'm like, hands off Vermouth, buddy. You ain't no Peter Parker, and she as heck ain't no Mary Jane. Well, he looks at me right in the face and goes, that is my wife you're talking to. And then it hit me. Vermouth had asked me on a date to come down here and make her husband, Spider-Man, jealous. So I started playing the part. I realized it, and I was like, look, I'm into her. She's beautiful. She's got that dancer figure. She touched my shoulder on the way down here, and I got that electricity feeling through my body. And he pushes me on the ground, grabs her hand, and they go smooching, running off into this Hard Rock Cafe behind me, laughing with each other.
That sounded like...
Brother, you can't simp that hard, dude. Peter Parker? Bro is done. Someone please give me this man's patience. Years of practice. Years of practice. I've pretty much mastered this art as well. You know, I've actually mastered the way that you get criticism, you know? Here's the way you get criticism. Take it in the third person. Don't take it first person. Don't take it straight to the head. Don't straight up take that back shot of criticism. Don't take that. Don't take it like that. Take it as if it's the third person, somebody talking about you, and you're just overhearing the conversation. Oh, okay. No, I hear that. You won't take it near as personally, dude. It helps out a ton. Let's see. Just got walked out on a first date because apparently I don't look like my photos, which is funny because I don't use Facetune, Airbrush, Magic Shot. Hey, I'll give you a Magic Shot. Or literally anything. Well, maybe you wore a lot of makeup, baby girl.
She's a runner, she's a track star.
You know, maybe that was the case. Maybe that's what it was. I don't know. Some guys don't like makeup.
You ever go on a date so bad that you start practicing "it's not you, it's me" speech even before the drinks arrive? Yeah, that was my night. So I met this chick at a coffee shop. She was sitting right next to me, and she was sipping her latte like she owned the place. We started talking. She sounded funny, confident, and extremely sarcastic. And I'm like, yo, this girl's got some personality. But it wasn't exactly personality. Turns out it was actually attitude with good lighting. We both agreed to head out to this one sushi spot, and I actually arrived early. She strolls in 25 minutes late like she's attending her own wedding. I stand up to finally greet her, and she just goes, "Oh, you waited." Yeah, I considered leaving, but I didn't want to waste the emotional investment in getting dressed. First question she asked was, what kind of car did I drive? And all I could say was, emotionally or mentally. But seriously, I drive a car that's hoping for a better future. Then she pulls out her phone mid-conversation and starts scrolling, double-tapping memes like she's getting paid by the scroll. At one point, I just stopped talking to see if she'd notice, and spoiler alert, she didn't. 5 minutes later, she looks up and says, "Oh my God, I'm sorry. What were you saying?" "Oh, just describing my will to live, slowly fading, but it's fine." Food finally makes it to the table. She takes one bite of sushi and goes, "Ooh, this sushi tastes like ocean water." Ma'am, that's the
yeah, that's the point.
Fucking point. She flags down the waiter and asks, "Do you have anything less fishy?" Like, ma'am,
you're eating fish, dude.
Stupid. This is a sushi restaurant, not a goddamn Olive Garden. Halfway through,
it did sound like a horse.
I love it. Okay, dude, chat. I'm gonna put y'all on to something I've been on. I don't know if you've seen this guy. His name's, I think it's Joe Caracal. Maybe this is it. So I've been like, from a 10,000 foot glance, been looking at the Epstein files, and I see a lot of everybody else covering it. But I hear this guy talk about how he thinks Jeffrey Epstein may be a spy, and I was like, this is interesting, and so I want to cover this clip. Here, let me move this over. I thought this was I love it, dude. This guy's stories are so good. His stories are so good. Like, I've watched so many of his freaking videos by now. But let's get off into this.
Think Jeffrey Epstein was a spy?
I believe very strongly he was a spy, yes.
And who do you think he was working for?
The Israelis. I'm confident it was the Israelis.
Why?
Jeffrey Epstein is kind of the stereotypical example that they give you in training for what's called an access agent. This is a different kind of recruit.